Hydroponics is a method of growing plants, usually crops without soil. In this method, the crops or plants are grown on water rich in essential nutrients. According to studies, plants grown hydroponically grow faster and healthier compared to plants grown in the soil, since they are being provided the required nutrients directly to their roots. Water nutrients are dissolved in this water that surrounds the roots, so plants have easier access to the nutrition. Some support systems for agriculture are needed for monitoring and controlling the water quality, in particular in compliance with Agriculture 4.0, because fluctuations in these parameters from the optimal range could be harmful to the growth of plants, in particular in hydroponic farms. The pH of the solution is one of the variables that can have a major impact on plant development. This is because a solution with a low pH level may contribute to plant toxicity. In contrast, the solution with a high pH level can lead to macronutrient and micronutrient deficiencies in plants. Toxicity and nutrient deficiencies in plants are physically visible through browning of the leaves, brittle leaves, or loss of plant leaves. The excessive pH level does not only affect a single plant, but could affect the whole crop cycle. While it is important to constantly monitor the pH parameters, the manual testing of the pH parameters could be time-consuming. When performed manually, these procedures can take a considerable amount of valuable time of the employee, and that would raise labor cost. In addition, there is also a potential in accidental overdosing or underdosing. The accidental insertion of an inappropriate volume of nutrient could cause a chemical shock to the plants, which in return is detrimental to the plant growth. This research therefore develops automatic pH level monitoring and control primarily for the hydroponic cultivation technique. The project is intended to make a system fully automated and requires nearly no human intervention after planting the germinated plant on the system. The other factor is the development of a device, which a normal user can use, which means that it is relatively compact and easy to use. Several microcontrollers, remote sensors, and controls are used for automating. Automation is accomplished. The device takes data from the sensors and provides a control action to keep different parameters in the target range in the simplest definition of function. Currently, automated hydroponic systems are either very expensive or do not regulate the pH level needed for healthy plant growth. This analysis provides complete automation with the parameter necessary for plant growth monitoring and control. To simplify the work, 3 key approaches, namely hardware, programming, and functionality testing, are involved in developing the system. The hardware of the electrical part of this project that was used are Raspberry Pi, Arduino Uno board, jumper wires, breadboard, sensors, pH sensor, temperature sensor, and dissolved oxygen sensor, peristaltic pump, 5.1 volt Zener diode, 1000 ohm resistor, and an air pump. The connection for the hardware is as shown here. The Raspberry Pi is connected to 3 Arduino Uno boards for each sensor to store the code to get the data from the sensor. Breadboard was used for the temperature sensor and pH sensor as there weren't enough pins in the Arduino Uno board. 2 peristaltic pumps were connected to the Arduino Uno board that is then connected to the pH sensor to send a signal to the microcontroller to activate the peristaltic pump to add acid or alkaline in the reservoir when the pH level is above the threshold to control the nutrient solution. A 1000 ohm resistor is used to reduce current flow, and a 5.1 volt Zener diode was used for voltage regulation to prevent from the pH collecting unnecessary data from the sensor, such as the noise value, which are the random variations of sensor output unrelated to variations in sensor input. An air pump was used to oxygenate the solvent in the nutrient solution linked to 2 air stones. Since the roots of the lettuce were completely immersed in the solution in deep water culture, oxygen became a necessity for growth. The air pump has therefore been used to provide oxygen to lettuce roots. Furthermore, the lettuce was equipped by 2 LED lights since light is a major source of lettuce growth. On the plastic container piping and various forms of polyvinyl chloride, also known as PVC, fitting were used and built to hang LED lights together. In order to supply the photosynthetically active photon flux density, also known as PPFD. During the experiment, a reflective foil of aluminium was used to protect the whole system to prevent the lettuce from absorbing natural light from outside and from influencing the PPFD. A circulate deep water culture hydroponic system was constructed using a plastic container. Besides that, polystyrene was prepared to dangle the net pots on the nutrient solution so the roots of the lettuce can submerge in the nutrient solution to get the nutrients for growth. 2 rectangular holes were cut at the side of the polystyrene for experimental purposes, such as to measure the parameters and for the air stone. The software part of this experiment is that in Raspberry Pi, it contains few software that are Node-RED, InfluxDB, and Grafana. Node-RED is a platform for programming hardware, application programming interface, and web resources. InfluxDB, on the other hand, enables developers to create software for Internet of Things, analytics, and monitoring. It is designed to manage huge volumes and endless timestamp data sources produced by sensors, applications, and infrastructure. Lastly, Grafana is designed for all of the databases and device data to build observability dashboards. This is the flow from Node-RED for the sensors. All the flows are similar to each other. The serial node is a USB of the Raspberry Pi. It has 3 small flow branches connected to the serial node. The first branch is only the debug node. That is just to show the value that is getting from the Arduino Uno. The second branch is a function node and an InfluxDB node. This is to take the value for the InfluxDB to display in the Grafana. The third branch is a flow to send an alert message to Telegram when the nutrient solution is not within the range. This is a message sent to Telegram when it is not within its range. Hydroponics allows plants to grow up to 50% faster than they would in soil, and fresh organic produce can be harvested throughout the year, and it uses 95% less water than traditional agriculture. It also helps to produce higher yields than traditional soil-based agriculture and allows crops to grow in areas of the world that cannot support crops in the soil. Hydroponics is good for both the environment and the ground product since it eliminates the need for massive usage of pesticide compared to traditional soil-based agriculture. It is also a great option when there is a lack of land or yard space for gardening, as it does not require a lot of space and can even be done indoors, because all that plants need is provided and maintained in a system which can be grown in your small area. Since a plant's roots don't have to expand and search for nutrients and oxygen, you can grow your crops much closer to each other. You certainly ask yourself, then why isn't hydroponics used more or even exclusively in commercial farming? First off, the initial investment. For a large-scale hydroponics operation, you need to build the facility first. A large field that you can pour tons of water over is cheaper than building gigantic greenhouses. Small decentralized hydroponic operations have a cost advantage here. They can be established in pre-existing spaces for little cost. Another reason is that expert knowledge in the field is still hard to find. For commercial systems to function properly, technical skills are needed to keep it running and for constantly controlling the system.